Hi everyone, it's Nat here. I'm on for my first November project for Aunty Vera Scrap and Craft. The theme this month is The Man Who Won. So I grabbed a couple of papers out of the paper set that we got to work with this month. It is the Tim Holtz Ideology paper stash and it's dapper and it is awesome. So there are a couple of papers that really spoke to me for a scrapbook page. So I've pulled them out and they were namely this one. This one was the one I was going to go with, but I'm still undecided now because I've looked and I might like this one better, so I've still got a bit of thinking to do. And then I found this gorgeous photo in my family photos. It's a little bit ruined there. The actual original had been, but I don't mind. It just makes it look as vintage as it is. This is from 1926, I'm pretty sure. Around there. And the colour of the photo goes really well with these papers. Just beautiful vintage style. So it could go with any of them, but I quite fancy it on this one. So that's what I'm thinking. So the first thing I want to do for this page is make an embellishment that I want to put on. And that is using these Tim Holtz Ideology stencil chips that I got as my chosen product. Now you might have watched my unboxing, which is my previous video, and in that you'll see the papers and all my chosen products that I got to work with this month, and they are all on sale at Aunty Vera Scrap and Craft for the month of November, as are all the chosen products that the other ladies have chosen to use with their beautiful papers as well. So go check them out. All right, so the stencil chips I have picked, I think, to go with this photo. Now, I'll tell you the story behind my choice for this. Because the theme is the man who won, I reckon a man who wins has a family that he dotes on and that dotes back on him as well. So that's why I thought I would do a page revolving around family, and I just love this photo. So I grabbed out the stencil chips that say family, and I think these will look awesome on this layout as well. So what I started off doing, which is very subtle and hard to notice, is I have just inked around the edges of the stencil chips and in the inside edges of the letters with my black distress ink. Now these are glossy on the outer side, so the distress ink's not really going to show up or stick onto this front part, which is good because I don't want that. I'm just going around these inside edges where it's a little bit white and hoping that it sort of defines them a bit so they stand out just a little bit more. So I've done them all except for the Y, so I will do that now to show you what I mean. So I used a dauber because it was just a bit easier to get into the little gaps. Now, I don't know if my plan's going to work, but we're going to give it a red hot go. I hope it does. Did do that edge, did I? Yeah, but I could do it just a little bit more. Okay, so the next thing I need is my crocodile. So I want to put a hole in, 2 holes in, one each sort of top corner, so that I can hang these stencil chips from a piece of chain that I found. Now I have a lot of jewellery pieces that I pick up in the second-hand stores. I love to grab bags of broken jewellery and that if I see interesting bits and pieces. And I had this one hanging around. And it's a lovely sort of goldish toned chain. And I think that that will look beautiful hanging from that. So I hunted around in my jewellery bits and pieces and I managed to find some, what do you call these things? Rings. No, there's another name. Them ring things. I've been looking for these for ages. Now I did have gold ones, but the gold ones were really bright, like new gold, and I did not like them. So I've got the copper ones, jump rings. I have no idea about making with jewellery and that sort of thing, so bear with me. But I think the copper ones will look better than the gold ones, so that's what we'll be using. And I did find these. I must have got these in a second hand or a discount from one of the craft shops. And they match quite well. This, I'm not sure if I'll use one of these on the end of the chain up this end or whether I'll use it somewhere else on this page, but they're there if I want to use them. So the idea is to punch my holes and try and attach the letters to my chain with the jump rings. So I'll do one and then I'll probably go off camera and do the rest so you don't have to watch me fumble around. So I've got to get my placement sort of where I want it. They don't have to be too even. Something like that would be all right. Now I'm not sure if I'm going to end up putting them even or whether I will make them uneven when I put them down. But the main thing is just to get them attached. So I'll use the small hole in my crocodile and we'll see if we can do this without killing anything. Yep, that's the right one. Now I want it sort of close to the edge. Now, maybe I should for once use the little marks on the edge so that I can see how far I am going for all of them and do it the same. So that's going to give me, let's go 2 before. I reckon that'll be all right. So I'll just show you, and I've got the hole just there. So I'll try and do the same on the other side. Now, of course, the markings are different on that side. So I will fit it even there and just up to about there. So they're pretty even. Amazing. Now I do have pliers here. I thought I had pliers here somewhere. Yes, I don't think I've got the right pliers. These ones are all right. I do have another pair. They're not the right ones for what I want to do, but we'll see how we go. So I might just work on putting this one on. So I've got a little jump ring and we'll just separate it. Now, as I said, I'm no jewellery maker. I'm very, very new, so you'll have to put up with me fumbling around. So I'll put it through the letter first. Fits nicely. And then we'll put it through the ring. I think this one will be good. And then I'll just try and close them off. So I think I want to hold it with this pair. They're the rounded pliers, so they're not really good for doing much of this sort of thing. But they should be all right to hold it while we just get it back together. There, that looks pretty good. That fits all right. So now we've just got to do another one. All right, so there you can see we've got it hanging nicely off the chain. It'd be nice if I had jump rings that were the same colour, but I probably could have tried to grunge up the gold ones a bit, but I don't mind. That colour looks nice on the page anyway, so. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put all of these other letters on and I'll come back and we'll continue on when I've finished that. So here is my little banner that I've used the stencil chips to make and some reclaimed chain from some jewellery. and just some little jump rings that I attached. Now the stencil chips, that was funny. I was punching holes and I was going to use the small hole punch for all of them from my crocodile. So I did these two small and then I did the next one, and I had done it with the big setting. And it was like, no, what am I doing? And usually that would make me just want to quit and cry. But I've grown up a little bit and matured during my crafting journey, so I decided to do it all different. So I've got some all big, some with a big and a small, and some with just small. And I don't mind that. You don't really notice it. I thought if I just have one big one, we're going to notice. So I'll just mix it up a bit and hopefully no one will tell. So I'm not going to stick it down just yet because I want to get a few other bits completed to put on here and sort out where I want things first. But I'm loving the way that has turned out. So, and I'm thinking about doing them just a bit like some up and some sort of down, something like that. I think that'll look all right. So we'll see how we go with that. So the next thing I want to do is I'll just remove those, put them somewhere where they won't get messed up too much. I'm going to just grab some of my greaseproof paper for this step. So yes, I just want to distress ink the edges, and then I have my water pen here too. I want to ink around the edges and then just move the ink in a bit with my water pen. So I'll do that and then I will let it dry before we do the next step. So I'm just using my, whatever this thing's called, blending tool. My brain's not working tonight. So I'll just ink that up, and I'm just going around like I do with my tags. I'm getting it in a bit along the edge and then in onto the paper just a tad. And I'm just going to run all the way down this side. Do it quite thickly. Now I'm going to do this process with all 4 sides, but I'm just going to show you one side and then I will go off and finish the rest off. So I'm just grunging it up a bit around the edges. So I'm just using my water brush. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but of course that activates the ink. So I'm just moving the ink in. I've just filled up my water brush and a bit much water's coming out for now, but that's all right. Just blot it off every now and again. So you can sort of push the ink inwards. And there might be a few little puddles here and there, which I sort of like the look of when it dries. And I have tested it out on another bit of this paper just to make sure that it works all right. And it worked really nicely, so it didn't get too wet. Or the way the water is coming out of this brush at the moment, it might. I have a love-hate relationship with my water brush. But yeah, I'm just sort of pushing it in to get some of the black look in a bit further, but also have it sort of splotchy so it's not too even. Alright, so that's that side done, so I'll leave that to dry, and what I'm going to do is go off camera, finish doing the rest of the sides, and then I will come back on and show you when it's dry. So you can see that the distress ink has just added this really nice smoky border that runs in and blends into the page. Now, it already had some darker aspects on the edges, just the way the paper was designed. So I love that. It's just grunged it up a bit. Makes a nice little border. So what I want to do now is add some of my Inca Gold. Now you can grab your Inca Golds from Aunty Vera as well in a number of different colours. It's not one of the chosen products for November, but if you want to grab some, you can grab it from there, and I use this all the time. But I think for this project it's going to be beautiful because our stencil chips are that shiny gold, so I think I'd like to add some gold around the edges, and that will just match them nicely. So I'm just going to use my fingers to apply it this time. So I just rub a little bit on my finger, and then I'm just rubbing it just along the edges and just in a little bit to create this little border. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. Hopefully you can see that. Sort of looks different depending on the direction you're looking at it. So, but I love it. It's beautiful, shiny stuff. So we'll run that along all 4 edges. So I will complete one with you and then go off again and finish it off. Alright, so as you can see, that's that side done. So I will go and finish off the other edges. I have finished putting the Inca Gold around all edges of my page, and I love the way it looks. Now I'm grabbing out my Distress ink again, and I'm going around the edges again with the Distress ink, just to take the edge off the gold and to grunge that up a bit so it doesn't look so new, I suppose. So you can see there, I don't know if you'll be able to see the difference, but it's very gold there. And there you still get hints of the gold coming through. Just looks a bit more vintage, I reckon, anyway. Now I think I've done all of them. Yeah, that looks really nice. So I'll just put the lid on that. So I never know which side, you know, I turn it around so much and then I don't know which side's up. I think it's that way. And I suppose it doesn't really matter with this kind of pattern on it. So we do have I've been thinking about which way I want to go attaching this. I think the best bet firstly will be to stick the letters where I want them and actually adhere them to the page rather than have them dangling around. So I might just do that if I can get them where I want them. So I'm going to stick the stencil chips down, and then I'm going to worry about how I'm going to attach the chain. Pick it up, that'll be nice. Just flip it like that. And get some glue on it. There. See, once these are all stuck down, the chain might be quite all right just dangling around, so. So what I have done is I have cut out my picture, and does that not go with the papers perfectly? It was a good find, that was. And I think I've lost one of my little doodly things that I want to put with it. Here it is. I've got these book corners. And I think, again, they will just tie in with the whole gold theme. So I want to put them around my little photo. But the photo, of course, is quite thin. So I'm going to lift it up. I got these given to me by a lady on Facebook Marketplace when I went to pick up some freebie magazines. She gave me this corrugated paper. So that's one of my ideas. The other one is to layer up some cardstock underneath just to make it thicker so the corners fit. But I also want to leave possibly a tuck spot, probably in that side underneath. To slip in a tag so I can write the details of the photos on the tag is my thoughts. So this is very soft, this stuff. But I just want to ascertain how thick and whether we need more layers for the corners to fit nicely, or whether it will be too thick or what. That's just about perfect, actually. Let's see how much it'll lift it off the page. Yeah, that looks nice, I reckon, because I want a flat surface to adhere the photo to. Now, just debating whether I can actually, I'm going to have to go and sit and play with this because I want to see. Yeah, so it's 2 layers there. I want to see if I can cut and prise enough of this away to be able to slip my tag in underneath the photo. So I'm going to take this away and do that off of camera and see if it works. And then come back and show you if it's a success or not. So I've cut it down to size. So the photo will just sit on top of it like that. Now I chose the cardboard because I wanted a bit of height off of the page. So I also would possibly like to slip this tag. Now this tag I made out of the paper, the same paper, but it was the 6x6 size. And I used that to practice my edge on with my Distress inks and my Inca Gold before I did it on the big page, because I'd never tried that before. So now I want the tag to slip underneath here. Don't know how it's going to go, but that's the plan anyway. So of course I've got that underneath. So what I managed to do was peel up the top layer and then cut the corrugated part, leaving enough room for the tag to slip underneath, and then I just stuck these outside bits back down, which was a bit tedious because the corrugations sort of flatten out, so I had to just push them up so that they gained height again as I stuck them down. So I've now got that. But what I'm thinking now is I might stick another piece of paper on the bottom here just to give it a little bit more height and to make it easier to stick onto the page when I'm ready to do that. So I've got this piece of offcut, so I'll probably rip this top bit off. I'll show you how easy it was basically to separate them. If you go like careful, you can just pull it off the corrugated parts, just like that. So that's what I did with this whole piece here. Took it the whole way off and then cut the corrugated piece down to fit the tag under, and then just stuck the edge pieces on again. So I'm going to pull this off because I will cut this down to stick onto these corrugations. There you can see I've just added some of the paper to the bottom sections of the corrugation. It'll just be a bit easier to stick down on the page now. So I want to just go around the edges of this with, I did want to use my black soot distress ink, but I can't find it. So I have a ground espresso here, so it's a nice dark brown. You probably won't see these edges much anyway, but oh, my pad didn't go on it. Try that again. For some reason it might stick if I try putting it on the right side. One of those days. So I just want to go around the edges just in case they peek out a bit. Or if you're looking at it from the side, just colour it up a little bit. Now I want to stick my photo onto the cardboard, so I think I will use my double-sided tape for that. Hopefully it sticks well. Too bad, it'll do. Now I don't want to press down too hard or else we're going to squash our little corrugated bits that we want lifted to slip our tag in. So I've just got to go around. Alright, so that will sit like that. Now let's just have a look. So our tag should fit underneath like that. So just these bits that we're going to have to be careful that we don't squash too much. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is I have these beautiful gold book corners. And I would like to add those to our photo. I think that'd be nice, and they would make it blend in nicely with our family sign that we've got and our Inca gold on there. So I've just got to be really careful to get this over the layers. Now I'm thinking I might need to put a bit of glue on it as well, just to make sure it stays on once we get it over the layers, which is easier said than done. That one's going to go on nicely. So I might try and get a little bit of glue on the inside of both sides of the corner because I don't want to squish it down too much. So we'll see how that goes. Easier to get it where I want it then. So I'm just going to move this out of the way. So I don't want to put too much glue in or else it's going to ooze out everywhere. So just a really fine little bit right on the end there. Hopefully that'll help hold it on. Start with this corner. Once it's stuck down, we won't really need to squish it down anyway, so I probably won't clamp it down with pliers as you would on your book corners. So I'll make sure I get it on where I want it. So that's going to look quite pretty. Now I have this antique piece of paper, book page, that I would like to use under my photo on my page. So I was gifted this by a lovely lady. It is antique, so it's a shame to rip it, but it didn't have pictures on it, this one, so I thought this would be perfect. It also says My Lady Die up the top. And since we're doing a family themed page with the theme, The Man Who Won, I thought it could be, you know, this could be his lady die. So, so I might leave that there. And I've never done paper curling before, and I've seen it on pages and really liked it. So this is not perfect at all, but I did curl this piece and I'm really happy with how that turned out. So I thought I would show you how I did that. And I've just ripped and wrinkled the bottom just a little bit. I do want to ink around the edges of this, but because I'm using water to curl the pages, I decided that I would try and ink it up a bit afterwards. So I just want to curl this little piece here, probably backwards, I think, just a little bit. So what I've been doing is using my water bottle just to spray my fingers, just a tiny little bit, and then wiping that just to wet it just a little bit, because that breaks off the edges already as I do that. So I've got to be very careful with this. And I'm using, I think this is an awl, I'm not sure, some form of paper crafting tool, and I just roll the paper with it, just like that. So then when you let it go, it sort of stays in place, but I'm going to leave it like that just for a little bit, let it dry a little bit, and then when I release it, it will hold its shape, and then I'll probably loosen it just a tad so that it's a bit more like this curl. And it just adds a bit of height for the page and a bit of extra interest. Now let's unravel our little curl. I've let it dry for a little while. So as you can see, it's actually, I can't get my little thing out. So there we go. So it stays there quite nicely. So yeah, that's going to look pretty good, I reckon. So the next thing I want to do is try not to ruin those while I ink around the edges a bit. So I've got my walnut stain oxide here. I think I will use that. Let's see what we've got so far here. So my idea is to have this down like that, and then our photo on the top about like that, and then our little tag's gonna slip hopefully. Now because I put the book corners on, it doesn't fit as well in the spot that I cut out for it. So what I might do is when I stick it down, I'll leave this whole edge unstuck. So that'll enable the corners to, enable the tag to slip under the corners, and it will just sit in like that. So I'll decide on placement afterwards. So I think that looks really cool. So I know I want a tag topper, and I did find a piece that I want for that and then misplaced it, so I'll find it again afterwards. But we will put an eyelet in the top. Now I've got to decide on gold or bronze or what. So this is how I store my eyelets at the moment. So I think we'll go the bronze. Need to invest in even more. I mean, I've got heaps, but you sort of need all different colours all the time. Don't really have a gold, so the bronze will be fine. So we want to put, it's the small hole that we put in here. We'll slip that in. Now I'm not decorating this Don't know if I'll decorate it at all for the simple fact it has to be able to slip under there. If I want, I might be able to stick a little vintage picture on there after. The back I'm going to leave like that. I figure that's light enough that I can use, I think I might use a black pen to write the details of the photo on it and then slip it in. I think that'll be really cool. So I'll just fix up my eyelet if I can. There, that looks cool. Now I've got to find my little dangle and a bit of chain that I want to hang from there, hopefully, if all goes to plan. I have these. I pick up all sorts of jewellery pieces from the second-hand shops and Spotlight when they're on sale. There's a nice big jump ring there. That might work. It goes with that too. But yeah, I have these little things, closures. I think you use them as a closure with those things. Not 100% sure, but I think that's how you do it. But anyway, I'm thinking one of them dangling from the tag would be really, really cool. So I have this jump ring that would fit by the looks in there. But then I'm thinking of just a few links of chain. So now I've got to try and find some chain that will match well enough, hopefully. I do have a few bits of chain in here. Again, this is all stuff I've just collected from secondhand stores. I have so much of this sort of stuff that I've got to take apart, and I'm grateful for it now, though. Don't know why I was collecting it all, because I never did anything with it before, but yeah, it's coming in very handy. I do have gold chain, but oh, this is nice. It's not quite the right colour, but I don't mind if they don't match perfectly. That's the fun of using secondhand stuff, and I can't be bothered trying to colour it because I'm not that good. I do have gold, but that would be really too gold. A smaller bronze. Kind of like this big chunky one, I think. Let's have a look. Maybe the smaller. Decisions. I might go the smaller stuff. So now what I want is try and grab a couple of these links off. Maybe about 6 or something. So I have a couple of pairs of pliers here. Don't know if this one will fit in there. No, one side will. Let's just figure out for sure how long we're going to want it. That'll be good. Now this is where I probably need my glasses because I can't for the life of me see anything. There. I think that's got it. Is a big one, that, but it's going to fit nicely. Now, thinking how I'm going to go about this. Just going to put my chain back together. Then I think I will link this bit that's open over the top of this and close it off. That wasn't too hard. And then all I have to do is link a jump ring onto the bottom end of the chain and then close that off. Miracles. I like it when things work for me. bit long, but that's all right. I want it to dangle down, so it'll sit in like that. Oh, there goes my corner, but that's all right. Might have to add some more glue to that one. So it's going to sit in there, and then this will just dangle down, which I really like. Just adds something interesting to look at. I have these were some of my chosen product, the Tim Holtz Ideology Small Talk. So I'm thinking maybe I should put one of these sayings on here as well. And I have this paper which I cut the 6x6 that I used for the tag out of. And I'm eyeing off some of this. I think might go nice on there with my saying on it. So I'm just going to cut a piece of that off. Just a little bit. The other thing I'm thinking of is to have my stamps. So I have my Noble Gent Stampers Anonymous Tim Holtz stamps here. So these are chosen product as well, so on sale for this month. I'm thinking of using one of these big words to put on here. I think will look cool. Might do imagination. Then we've got the little sayings as well. We've got Vagabond Society, proprietor of ideas, thoughts and theories. So I've got one here that says thoughts and theories. So I'm just going to give that a bit of an ink and test. Now I have this saying that says, I'm happiest when I'm with you. I assume that's a nice one to put with a family setting. So I think I might add that. I'll grab some cheesecloth. You know, crafting as I go. I haven't really got it 100% planned because I find it hard to pre-plan stuff. I tend to have to just see things and then figure out what I want to do. I've got some of the cheesecloth. I've got some sort of linen, which I think would be quite nice. This bit looks good, so I might use that bit. And I just want to get some colour on my linen stuff here. So I'm happiest when I'm with you. Because the man who won is happiest when he's with his family. So that's gonna be, yeah. So if I cut this off at about here, and I'll add a bit of glue to my words. All right, now I want to ink around the edge. Let's move some of this out of the way. But I'm just debating whether I want to corner round or I might do, kind of like that one for Just this top corner maybe. Just don't want to. Yeah, kind of like that. And then I might just corner around the other ones. Don't know if I do like it now. Now I'm sort of tempted to rip it. We are doing like vintage style, so a bit of a rip never hurt anyone. I could do something pretty and then just rip it. That'll do. And then we'll link it. Much better. The other thing I have that I was thinking of doing is using some of these numbers on there. Just cut out these squares here. I have these little adornments as well. I'm not sure though. Although I could pretend it's like the number of their house and put it on. The only thing is they're silver, so I was thinking of trying to colour it in with not sure if it will work, but I do have a oil-based paint pen. Might as well give it a try, hey? Let's see what it turns out like. If I don't like it, I've got a lot more adornments. Oh, I like that. Don't know whether I should wipe it down to try and smoothen it out, but I won't. I think I'm going to leave that now. I think it will need a good dry for a bit, and then I might do around the top, just around the edges. But I actually think that's going to turn out good, so I'll be back when that's dry to get on with things. So time to put this all together now. I've done a bit of searching and found a few bits that I'd like to add to this. Firstly, I'll show you. This is dried off now and I love it. So yes, that oil-based gold texture worked really well at changing the colour from the silver to the goldish copper sort of gold colour. So I didn't bother going around the edges because I'm not going to notice them much anyway. So I want to put that down around here, and I've found a little bit of cheesecloth that I might put underneath it as well. Something like that. Now the other thing is I was going to put some brads in the holes, and I was looking for black brads. I had every colour of little brads except for black ones, which is really annoying. It doesn't look too bad without, so I don't even know if we need it. I did find these just black, I don't know if you call them flatback pearls or whatever they are, bling. I'm just going to sit one on top and see what I think. Oh, I kind of like it. So maybe I'll be able to use a little bit of glue, pile some glue up in the hole and just sit those on top like that. Find my little picker-upper thing, which I have a lot of trouble with, so you can laugh at me while I try and use it. I'll grab some tweezers. These ones will do. let them sit and dry for a minute. Now I've got to get sticking this down. I'll just remove my tag. So I think the first thing we will do is put... Now, I'll show you what else I've got that I want to put on the page. I have this. This is out of a floppy disk, I'm pretty sure. I took a whole heap apart that I had sitting here and just kept some bits and pieces, and they've come in quite handy. And I sprayed this one a while ago with some gold and silver and copper. I think this one just had copper and silver acrylic paint. Let it dry, and I love the way that's turned out, so we're going to use that. And I have a negative here of, I think it's my kids cuddling my dog even. Anyway, so I'd like to use that as well. I've got a whole lot of negatives here, and I thought, well, why not add them to things? So that's the plan. And so we've got to incorporate those as well. But first I might put my photo onto this backing. And I'm leaving that front bit open so we can hopefully slip our tag in. So I don't want to push too hard, or else we're going to collapse our cardboard underneath, and we want that raised, I should say, use proper English. Now hopefully our corner will stay on nicely because we've got glue on it to stick it down. So now that should be stuck to the paper. Now that will probably just tuck under there a little bit like that. Now this piece I would like, I'm just trying to see, it goes that way. Thinking of putting this sort of here with that possibly over the top like that somehow. Tell me. So, and then this piece I'm thinking of tucking just under there. Now I don't want too much glue, so I might use my fine tip and go around the edges. A little floppy disk piece on. Then we might stick our little title thing. I suppose you'd call it a title. And then we've got our little numbers. Now these might go on afterwards, I think, yeah. So, next thing to do is to stick our paper down. Now, the last thing to do is to slide our tag in and hope that it fits. So I haven't put anything on there. There is scope, of course, for me to find a vintage picture to stick on there. And I will be writing on there with black black gel pen, the details of the family members, because these are some of my family members. So that slips. Oh my goodness, I think it might work in there. Oh yes. Don't mind me, I'm excited. And then that would just dangle down like that. So, breathe a sigh of relief now. So I think that is it. That is the lovely page for the theme of The Man Who Won, my first project for November for Aunty Vera Scrap and Craft. So check out what the other ladies are doing and go grab yourself a bargain. These papers are gorgeous, and the goodies as well that we've picked to use are all on sale. So go and check them out. Take care of yourselves. Be good, and I will see you soon with my next project for Aunty Vera Scrap and Craft. See you later, guys.